everyone, and welcome back to the Amber Living vlog. This is Beyond Film School, and today we're talking about the safety procedures and protocols of film sets. Before we jump to the video about set procedures and protocols in this world of the coronavirus and the pandemic, be sure to hit up that PayPal link. It really helps me out. If you like my videos, if you are subscribed to my channel, and you think that all this stuff is useful to you, please donate to that PayPal link. It really helps me bring more videos to you. And be sure to subscribe if you are new to my channel. Please don't miss out on any of the videos I have on the film industry. This video is in response to one of my subscribers, and Tyler Cubics, I'm pretty sure I'm saying your name right. He asked me to lay out all the safety procedures and protocols that are being done on set because there's a lot of information out there and it's just not clear and people are saying a lot of different things. And I'll tell you why it is confusing. Ever since the productions were shut down mid-March, there have been all the unions that deal with film and television. They've been trying to figure out what to do to get production to resume. And a lot of different people are putting out a lot of different papers and guidelines to figure out what is the best way for us to function on set. A lot of productions have already started to resume in California, in Australia, and they're starting to do in Italy, and they've already started shooting in London as well. So a lot of places around the world have resumed production, and they all have their own set procedures, they all have their own guidelines. And for the US, a lot of the unions I have to say, all of the unions came together and they created the white paper. The white paper was not put together by governments. It was put together by the unions that deal in TV and film. And this is their answer to let the government know that, yes, we have solved the problem. We have solved and figured out what we could do on set to fight the spread of the coronavirus and be more healthy and be safe to make sure no one else gets sick. So this is not a set in stone way for sets and productions to run their sets and to resume operations. This is more of a guideline. On a more formal note, the white paper was produced by the Alliance of Motion Pictures and Television Producers. The good thing about this paper is that all the unions and all of the guilds have signed off on it. That means that we're all in agreement in the US what we should be doing on our sets. Studios are going to have more money to do more things to stay safer on sets. So this is why certain sets are going to be a little bit different. There are some companies who are going to do the bare minimum, but other companies and studios are going to go a little bit further and they're going to be a little more strict on their sets. Plus, a lot of people are hearing different things because they are talking to different UPMs and ADs and producers about what they're going to be doing on their sets. Also, you have to take into account union world versus the indie world. So you're going to be doing different things on a union set than you would be doing on an independent film set. One example of going a little bit further and being a little bit more strict is quarantining your entire cast and crew. Now that costs money. Now, with the nature of the United States, each state is going to have their own mandated procedures and protocols that each film production or TV production is going to have to implement on their sets. If anything else, I'm hoping this video will help you if you are a producer and you don't know what you should be doing on your set. So if you're an independent film producer, please take this into account and make sure you're implementing as much of these as possible. And let's get into the guidelines. So I'm going to start with the most basic of the guidelines, and that's social distancing. You on set should not be right next to somebody and crammed into a space where you are a bunch of sardines in a can. So you have to practice social distancing, keeping 6 feet between you and the other person. Proper PPE, meaning face masks and gloves. Even actors have to have their gloves and masks on them as well, unless they're actually being filmed and the camera is rolling. They're going to be doing regular testing of the cast and crew. That could be bi-weekly, it could be weekly, it could be monthly. There is going to be daily monitoring of symptoms, meaning there's going to be someone before you get to set. You are going to be asked if you have had a fever, cough, sore throat, stuff like that. You're going to be asked if you've had that in the last 24 hours or a week. There's going to be enhanced sanitation, and what does that mean? That means that they're going to be cleaning, sanitizing, and wiping down areas that are high-touch areas, meaning doorknobs, doors, handles, stuff like that. There's going to be enhanced hand washing opportunities. And by this they mean opportunities to go and wash your hands in the bathroom or actually have hand washing stations placed around set. That also includes having hand sanitizer readily available, and also each crew member and cast member have their own personalized bottle of hand sanitizer. There's also going to be training, meaning everyone, cast and crew, producers, everybody that is included in production will be trained in the spread of infection, how this works, how we can prevent it. So knowledge is power, people.
Next up, knowledge.
The UPMs and the first ADs are going to be the ones that are going to be responsible for implementing these procedures on set. They are the leader of this. Since the first AD is the safety officer on set, this only makes sense that they would be in charge of it. This is a big one because Lord knows I've been crammed in some very, very small spaces with a bunch of people, and this is adequate space. Choosing locations and having a set that has enough room for the people who need to be in there to shoot it. Adequate space is going to be really, really important because that's the only way you're going to be able to social distance from each other. This means not shooting an entire scene and it being in a teeny tiny bathroom and trying to fit 50 people in that bathroom. Although I have shot in some really big bathrooms. This is a really great one. This is paid leave. So this is saying if you do get sick, you are not going to be fired from a production and you will be paid while you can't be on set. So this is a huge one because right now in the union, the IATSE unions, for a lot of unions I heard on my last set that I was on, they don't get sick days. They don't get paid if they call in sick for that day. They can use vacation pay, but they don't have sick pay, which is kind of weird. So paid leave is a huge deal in this. This is also very important because this encourages the crew member to actually call in sick and not have to worry about their finances. They're still going to be paid and they're not bringing any type of infection back to set and infecting other people. I think this is a really, really great one because open communication is super important, and open communication in these guidelines means cast and crew can offer up suggestions if they feel like something can be done better or safer on set. This is a really great way for cast and crew to collaborate with production and the producers of a show, and everyone will benefit from that. Just a few notes on this document. Now, at the end of this document, now this document is 22 pages long, and at the end it says that, you know, these things can be modified to fit the needs of your show. And this is where some of the confusion might come in, where what might work for one set might not work for another. So this is why they're saying, you know, whatever changes you need to make it better for you, you can do that. This really makes sense because this whole situation is new to everybody in the world and everyone in the film industry. So to allow these modifications and changes to be made based on whatever set you're on, this is great because, you know, this is all new to us and we're learning something new about this thing every day. And because of that, that is why you might be hearing a lot of different things every day, and it's really, really hard to keep up. I get it. Now, let's talk about some of the items that are used on set, particularly props, equipment, and certain gear that's used to film. Equipment and props have to be sanitized once a day, at least once a day. Whenever possible, paper should not be used and interchanged between people, meaning scripts, call sheets, stuff like that should all be electronic and just be on whoever's personal devices. And I've also seen this already on set where if something needs to be printed out, that particular item that is printed out will have a person's name on it. And whoever's name is on that particular item, that is the only person that should be touching that item. And this goes for binders as well. Certain binders that are going to be needed to be in use on set will have to be sanitized after each use. And that goes for vehicles as well. So after a vehicle is used, it should be sanitized after each ride or after each person exits the vehicle. Alright, so I think everyone's wondering about this. How is lunch going to work? Now, lunch will be staggered, meaning there's not going to be one crew-wide lunch, one lunch called. There are going to be certain sections of the cast and crew who are going to have to stagger their lunches, meaning half the team will go to lunch, and then a half hour later, the other half will go to lunch. There will be no buffet-style catering any longer. To me, that just means that the caterers have such a harder job to do. Cast and crew cannot leave for their lunch break, but they can have something delivered. Everything has to be single-serve items, meaning ketchup, salt, pepper, anything that is used for a meal has to be individually wrapped in single-serve items or single-serve packages. The leaving for lunch one is kind of a bummer because a lot of people just like to leave and reset and just relax, and they might not even be going to another place to eat lunch, but they just want to get away from set for a few minutes. So the fact that you can't leave set during lunch is kind of a bummer, like totally just... Because sometimes I just want to go for a walk or something, you know? Get some fresh air. Now let's talk about some of the things actually on set. They are considering having shorter days.
Oh my God.
And that's a miracle to me. I mean, for me, that's amazing because a 12-hour day on film sets just sucks. We need to be having shorter days. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it. I'm saying it now. Shorter days on set. This is the time to do it and implement a new system. Shorter days on set. They're also considering having less consecutive days in a row on set, meaning maybe not all 5 in a row, maybe every other day. I have no idea if this would affect the weekend, but they're considering not having as many consecutive shooting days. They're also going to have staggered call times and wrap out, which means the company is usually in at 10:30, and that means everyone is going to be arriving to set at that time. But now it's going to be, instead of it just all being at 10:30, it'll be 10, 10:30, 11. And then for wrap out, that just means that instead of waiting for camera to wrap and gear to wrap out, then some people will get to go home early, some people will have a longer day. It's just to make sure that there's no mass exodus at wrap out and everyone is leaving all at the same time. Just like how you would have a medic on set, they're asking for a designated person to be the COVID compliance officer on set. And that will require a little bit of training, but someone has to be in charge of kind of overseeing all of this. Because obviously, I know I said the UPMs and the first ADs are going to be the ones enforcing, but they have a set to run. They have to actually make sure that things are being shot, so we're not wasting the day. So there's another pair of eyes that is going to help implement all these procedures and make sure people are kind of, you know, they're enforcing, making sure that things don't go awry, and they're keeping track of these things, and they're going to be doing the testing and the symptom monitoring when people enter set. Now, you know that there are a lot of meetings that happen in prep, and all those meetings should be virtual, meaning the writer's room should be virtual. If there is a special effects meeting that needs to happen, all these meetings have to happen online and not in person. More monitors on set. This is a big deal because a lot of the time when I'm on set, there's like one monitor and there's like 15 people crowded around one monitor. So more monitors will actually help so much in the practice of social distancing. So that'll be something I will gladly appreciate on set. And of course, for all of those shows that are shot live, there will be no live audience. If you are working in the office, you happen to be an office PA or an editor or whatever, if you can work remotely, you have to work remotely. Casting is also going to be done virtually and online. Here are some things I noticed that I have seen implemented on other sets that this paper, the white paper, does not say. And the first one is being quarantined prior to a shoot. And I know that idea was kicked around a lot, but like I said, it's really expensive to quarantine a whole cast and crew for 2 weeks because you have to pay them wage for the entire time. So that is not set in this. And what I also noticed is that they're not talking about less crew. There's nothing in this paper that says we are going to operate at 50% capacity. So I feel like while it's not said that there will be less crew on set and less people hired, it's gonna happen naturally. But I just assume this is gonna be a natural occurrence because there's only so much room, even at the stage. Also, another one is the pod system. The white paper doesn't lay out the pod system like what they're doing in Australia right now. Quadrants of teams that deal with different things and making sure you're not in a certain quadrant with other people. So that also wasn't mentioned in the paper. So the daily temperature checks is done in a lot of sets already, and of course in Australia on the show Neighbours they're doing it, but this document kind of mentioned it but kind of didn't mention it. Will there be daily temperature checks? I'm not sure, but they are talking about symptom monitoring, which I think daily temperature checks actually gets lumped into, but they didn't actually say daily temperature checks. So I'm not really sure. Yeah, this daily temperature checks one is kind of tricky, to be honest with you. I don't know why they wouldn't do it because I had a doctor's appointment that I actually had to go to the hospital for, and all it is like this cool laser gun they put, it's like half a second. They ask you what your symptoms are and then they give you a sticker that says you were screened. So it could be that simple on a film set as well. The white paper was signed off on by a lot of the unions and the guild that are, you know, in the film world, but that's union, right? So what's happening on independent sets? Basically, they can use this as a guideline too. And if you are an independent producer, try to follow these guidelines for a safe set for your project. And even if you have better ideas of how to, prevent the spread of the coronavirus on your set, then definitely do it. But this is a really good place to start for indie producers, UPMs, and first ADs. The advantage that independent films sets have is that there are usually less people, less actors, less crew, just less people involved overall, so it just might be easier for them to operate than a union set. And I'm just gonna say this again, each set, each project, each production is going to have their own personal set of guidelines, but the basics are mask, gloves, hand washing, social distancing. That's the bare bones of it. And if a set isn't doing that, then you're in danger.
You in danger, girl.
If you want to read the white paper, I will leave the link to the document below in the description box. Since there's a lot of hearsay in this area, tell me what you guys have heard about some of your productions that are in prep right now and what are they thinking about doing on their sets. I would love to know, we can help each other. If you're a producer, first AD, or a UPM, what are you thinking about doing on your sets? Let me know in the comments below what you guys have been doing on sets, because I know there's some indie stuff shooting. Let me know what's happening on your sets. What's changed? What are some of the things that have been implemented? What are the things that stick out to you? I hope this helped. Unfortunately, every set is going to be different. Every production is going to be different. So, like always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please comment below. I'm happy to answer any of these questions. And that is it for now, guys. I shall see you guys next time.